Fitness is not bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So it's an addiction. Top 5 tips for muscle building.
There's going to be so many side effects. The doses that they take, only they knows, man. Okay, it's the first thing if
Right.
you're using steroids.
Okay.
Every 3 months or 2 months.
Kind of use steroids as a thing to increase their self-esteem.
The beans and the
Yeah,
chicken and
yeah,
the leaves and everything.
yeah.
That's going to cost you in the long run. Definitely going to cost you. Your
Yeah.
heart, your kidneys, liver will pay for it.
Welcome back to the Fitness Island podcast, and today we got one of the juiciest and one of the most interesting guests on board, Mr. Dhanuja Markavita. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, brother.
Right, let's get to know him a little bit more, because before you guys kind of hear about who he is, what I want to tell is today's podcast is going to be very interesting. Dhanuj is a guy who's been in the bodybuilding industry or fitness industry for quite some time, has worked with some of elite athletes even out of the country as well, brings a lot of knowledge, brings a lot of experience to the table. We are going to talk about some of the topics no one really talks about, including stuff like performance enhancing drugs, training, nutrition. So make sure to stick right through and make sure you kind of get as much as value, and let's try to pick his brain as much as possible. Give a little bit of introduction about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Dhanuja Markavita. I am one of the first guys to do videos for Fitness Island.
Yep.
Me and Joey go way back.
Way back.
Yeah. So I'm here after some time.
All right. Let's talk about at which point in life do you want to decide to get into bodybuilding? Why did you decide to get into bodybuilding? Give us a little bit about your past. Who is Dhanuja Markavita?
Yeah, so I was anyway very passionate about bodybuilding. I started when I was 16. Before that, I used to do lots of sports. I was a soccer player, then I played cricket. And after school, I went to UK. Then I trained with some super guys.
Yeah.
So I was really passionate about bodybuilding.
That's where you fell in love with bodybuilding. Okay.
Yes. So I've learned 2 or 3 things back in the UK. So when I got here, I wanted to compete. So I felt like I was ready for it.
Yeah.
So I've competed in Mr. Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And I placed there. And after that, I kept training. Then again, I competed in a physique competition that you guys have.
Yeah. We remember that.
Yeah. So that's how it is, man.
That's where it got started. Now, before taking the conversation for long, I'm going to straight jump into the juiciest topic everyone wants to talk about, but no one really talks about.
Yeah.
Right? So, which is PED, performance enhancing drugs, or
Exactly.
in our words, steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, let's start with what's your personal take on people using steroids, and what have you seen in the industry? Let's just do a bit of talk about it, and then we'll kind of get into deep things into that whole unspoken topic of steroids.
Yeah. So what I feel like is, in my personal opinion, if you're not a professional athlete or a bodybuilder, you shouldn't use steroids. It's just no point. You're just harming yourself. So much stress, so much work. I mean, you could get to a certain extent being a natural guy. You could just diet and train, watch yourself, watch your cardio, and you could achieve so much that. But if you want to get into steroids, that's next level thing, man. That's the highest extent that you could go in bodybuilding.
Do you think that's something that's reserved for the professional bodybuilders only? Why I'm asking this is because some people now kind of use steroids as a thing to increase their self-esteem. We spoke about this before, off camera as well. When you said steroids are only for people who want to go on pro bodybuilding or pro physique or whatever, but what about guys who want to take their self-esteem up? If you're someone really overweight or someone who wants to, because as guys especially, we like to build muscle, and we think that you get more respect when you're a more muscular guy. And you're the guy everyone comes to the gym and talks about. They come and ask you for advice, and obviously boys or guys really love that.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? What's your take on that?
Bro, everyone's to their own.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah.
So if you're, like I said, if you're not a professional athlete, no point using steroids, because there's going to be so many side effects. But if once you decided to go ahead with that, there are certain steroids you can use.
Okay.
like less side effects. Like you could start with testosterone,
Yeah.
maybe a testosterone booster first,
Okay.
and then testosterone, things like that. And you shouldn't really push yourself to go like all these harsh steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not a professional athlete.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to cost you sooner or later.
So let's talk about the cost on the side of consequences, which is the biggest drawback in steroids, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if there were no consequences, I think everyone will jump on it.
Yeah.
Why people are very skeptic or you'll always have two minds on jumping in is because the consequences are greater than the benefits. I think you'd agree with me that.
Yeah.
Because if you look at even on the international stage, guys like Rich Piana, who's the guy for Redcon one? I can't remember his name, but I mean, you know, some big names who kind of lost their lives because
Yeah.
what I've seen is when you start on it, no one seems to be able to draw the line. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because you see the best version of yourself, you're like, shit, I can become even more great. And then people start complimenting you, and then you kind of get on with the cycle of, okay, I'm done with, okay, I'm going to go one more step advanced, one more step. What's your thought on that? How do people draw the line? And let's talk on that line.
No, like we can't compare ourselves with guys like Rich Piana or all the top athletes because their cycles are way different than ours.
Yeah.
Because the doses that they take, only they knows, man.
Okay.
Those are customized.
Are you also referring to the quality of the products? Because
Exactly,
here I think we
yeah.
don't really get the...
Exactly. They're using all the pharmaceutical stuff as well. So most of the gear that we get here in Sri Lanka, those are underground.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where it's coming from or who made them.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're really using. So I feel like even we can't compare ourselves with Rich Piana, man.
Yeah. True.
Because like so much money involved, and they have all the professional guys to do the things.
Yeah.
Like so.
But even with the professional, I'm pretty sure he had a doctor kind of watching over his blood work and all of that, but he still couldn't really, I think he abused it.
Because he abused it. He even said that.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't control himself and he didn't know what he was doing. So if he knew better, things would have been changed.
So it's an addiction.
I won't put it like that. It's not going to be an addiction. I don't know. For maybe some guys, it could be. Because obviously when you put on lean mass, you drop so much fat. When you look good, it's going to be an addiction. Yeah. For
So
some guys, yes.
Do you think you can, it's something that people can start and then stop, or?
Of course. If
Okay.
you're disciplined, you can.
Right.
If you're using it for the right purposes, then it should be fine. But if you're just using it to show off, get girls,
Yeah.
that's not the right thing,
the
my
way to
friend.
go.
Yeah.
All right. I mentioned the word blood work because health is the end goal.
Exactly,
Fitness is not bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding is a sport. It's a part of it. But the main overall goal is longevity, overall health.
Yeah.
And obviously steroids go really against that.
Yeah.
Right? But if you look at the international circuit, Dhanuja, I think the pros do blood work. They have a doctor. But in Sri Lanka, that's not the case. It's most often the gym instructor or someone like they call it gym maya, or it's one of them who recommends, who don't have a professional background, they don't do a blood work, they don't really do blood tests, they don't see what they're lacking in. How important is it to do blood work? How important is it to constantly check your blood work and things like that?
Yeah, like when you say blood work, there's like so many blood works you can get done.
Yeah.
So what I recommend is if you're using steroids, at least every 3 months, you have to get your heart, liver, kidneys checked.
Yeah.
So in that way, if something's wrong in your body, then you should be completely off from it.
Okay.
Blood work is the first thing if you're using steroids.
Okay.
Every 3 months or 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to get yourself checked.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, again, so if we are to kind of summarize this little mini conversation on steroids, would you say it's strictly for the pros and others shouldn't?
I'm not saying it's strictly for the pros. I mean, if you're a well-off guy, if you can take care of yourself, then it should be fine, man. Like, if something happens, if you have enough money to spend for yourself, like the hospital bills, the doctors, all these things comes with it.
Yeah.
So if you're a well-off guy,
and if you're aware of the risk you're taking,
exactly. If you're aware, if you know what you're up against, then it's fine. I mean, if you just started bodybuilding, you don't need steroids. At least you have to train at least 4 or 5 years, learn the sport, whether it supports your lifestyle.
Okay.
Some people, we just started, they if after 3 months they want to use steroids. That's
Okay.
no point.
Okay.
This is about commitment and work ethic, the diet, so much work. This is not like any other sports, man.
Hardest
you know
sport.
it already, yeah?
Hardest sport in the
Yeah,
world.
exactly.
Okay.
So even after training, you have to watch what you eat, count your steps, everything.
Macros.
Yeah, exactly.
The hard part is after you train.
After you train. So
Okay.
like if you are well aware about what you're going to take, it's fine. It's
Okay.
your personal thing.
Right. When you said also like the stigma around steroids now in the society, I feel like people also kind of look down on people who are taking. Also, more than that, I think the real issue is people who are on performance enhancing drugs saying they are natural and setting unrealistic expectations for the natural guys.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a problem? If so, how do you think because I think in the Sri Lanka, it's not in Sri Lanka, I think it's international. Even, I mean, I don't want to name, but like international, very popular
Yeah.
bodybuilders, like it's like so obvious these
Yeah,
guys on stage all year round and they come and say, no, I'm just natural.
Yeah.
Right. And then the average guy is like, shit, what does he eat? What supplements does he
Yeah.
take? How do I look like him?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What about that whole, I feel like that's being such a problem in the local as well as international market.
Yeah, like most of the guys we see on Instagram, like mainly Instagram,
Yeah.
those guys are on steroids.
Yeah. Majority, you would say.
Like majority, most of them, bro. So they are on steroids, but they claim to be natural.
Okay.
But you have to be sensible, right? If
Yeah.
someone doesn't look right,
Yeah.
then he doesn't look right. He has to be on something else.
You got to use some common
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Yeah. So like everybody can't look like Rich Piana or Kai Green or
Yeah.
Phil Heath. These guys are born with it. Like, you
Yeah.
know, the genetics go way back, man.
Okay.
Like I can use the same cycle what Rich Piana or Kai
You're
Green
never
use,
gonna
but
look
I'm
like-
not going to look like that.
Okay.
That's the genetics. So you have to be very like sensible. You look at things in a very different way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Setting realistic expectations for a natural guy, can he be someone who has a lot of muscle mass and be very lean, or do you think that's to achieve that level you need to kind of step up and of course perform on drugs and stuff like that, or can a guy who's purely depending on hard training, good nutrition, how much can they achieve naturally? Where do people have to like set realistic goals? I think that's important because
Yeah.
we like love to set unrealistic goals. I mean, if
Exactly.
you're someone natural, you look at someone unnatural and be like, I want to look like him.
Yeah.
But you're not going to look like him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also not because of steroids. It's genetics.
Genetics,
Especially out of Sri Lanka, these guys have insane genetics. Unfortunately, we don't really have good genetics in Sri Lanka.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
All
Sorry, I
we
was
get
going...
is hair and tummy.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going a little around with the question, but naturally, what's the realistic expectation someone can set?
Well, for a natural guy, they can achieve so much. They can get big,
Yeah.
they can get lean, but they're not going to look good as a guy who's on gear.
Yeah.
So that's a fact that we have to admit.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as you have realistic expectations, you'll be fine. If you're
Okay.
happy with yourself, if you are happy the way you look, then that's what matters, right?
Okay.
You can't look like a guy who's on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then I remember sometime back your Instagram bio said whatever it takes.
Whatever
You're a
it
big
takes.
believer, whatever it takes.
Of course, it's on my chest
Right.
too, man.
Oh shit. Yeah. So Dhanuja is a big believer of whatever it takes. Explain that mindset, that mentality. What does it really mean to say when you say whatever it takes? And yeah.
It means whatever it takes.
means whatever it takes.
You do whatever it takes.
Okay. Can that be a bad thing? Because when you say whatever it takes, that means you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So can that have an adverse effect on your health, on your mindset? Like we talk about mental health as well. Because if you have that whatever it takes mentally, means you're not the kind of guy who takes a break. You're at it all the time.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
No. Steroids, right? It's not a good
Yeah.
thing. It's whatever it takes. It's just not for bodybuilding, bro. It's
Okay.
like anything that you do in life, you're
Okay.
just going to do whatever it takes to
Okay.
achieve that goal.
Right.
So apart from bodybuilding, I mean, in bodybuilding, if you're a guy who's cruising means if you're not stopping what you're taking,
Yeah.
that's going to cost you in the long run. Definitely going to cost you. Your
Yeah.
heart, your kidneys, liver will pay for it.
Okay.
Even if you use performance enhancing drugs, every 3 months you have to do a PCT, which is
Yeah.
post cycle therapy.
Okay.
Most of the guys here in Sri Lanka, they don't do it. They don't
Okay.
even know what's that.
Yeah.
So you have to go through that
Okay.
and take 3 months off, do your blood work. If you're feeling all right, then get back on cycle.
Okay.
So most of the guys I know, they are on cycle throughout the year and years.
No breaks, no PCTs, nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So while you are young, it's you'll be all right.
Right.
But after a while, you're going to get old. Then it's going to cost you. Yeah.
Okay. How familiar are you with testosterone replacements? And now people talk about when you're over 35, in the current world, they say it's okay to kind of...
That's what they say, yeah.
Like if you're post 35 and your natural testosterone level drops, this is so popular in the Western world. Like it's like a normal thing. It's not like they don't consider steroids. It's like a normal thing. What do you think? Is that something people should actually consider?
Yeah, if you have low testosterone, if you're lethargic, if you're not motivated for anything, then obviously something's wrong with your body. Yeah. So when you get yourself checked and if you feel like you have low testosterone, then obviously you should...
That's not a bad thing. I think more people need to start talking about it. I think you can also always consult a doctor about it. Yeah. One interesting part of your life was when you competed, right? And not everyone knows what bodybuilding competing is like. It's putting your body through hell.
Oh my God!
Right? Talk about that journey. What does it take? Briefly give us like an idea, because there might be people watching who kind of love to one day step on stage, physique, classic, whatever it is, they want to step on stage. What was your experience like doing a bodybuilding show, man? I know it was crazy. The diet. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I've been dieting for about 3 months on a very low carb diet and no outings, no meeting with friends, training every day, 2 times a day. Early in the morning cardio, then evening training, and loads of dieting, bro. So it's really hard.
Okay. Do you want to go a little more detail on it, like in terms of like what a day like look like closer to the competition? Like let's like talking about water cut and just we just want people to know it's not easy, because I think bodybuilders deserve way more respect, right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's not like any other sport. What they put their body through. I mean, since I've associated some of these guys who've been competing, it's insane, right? Talk us through how difficult, so that people need to kind of get and respect these people more who does this as a profession.
So what I did was I didn't cut water. I did water manipulation. So I had to drink loads of water. About like 5, 6, 7 liters a day, which was really hard, apart from your diet. So before like 2 days, the competition, I've completely cut the water.
So zero water intake.
Zero water. So your body goes into a flushing stage. So it keeps flushing all the water that you took.
How was your carb intake at that point?
I was carb loading. I was eating loads of carbs. Like 700 grams or 800 grams of carbs. It depends, bro, with your body.
And something that people also talk about is how difficult it is for your mindset. Like you kind of, you're angry all the time, right? You're annoyed. Talk about of what it takes how it takes a toll on your mindset being a competitive bodybuilder.
It is really hard. Like you're angry all the time because you're not supposed to eat anything that you like. You can't go out. Basically, you don't have any social life at all. You're just stuck inside the house. You just keep training and dieting, eating all the shitty food. The beans and the chicken and the leaves and everything. So basically, it's very mental, to be honest. You have to be mentally really tough to get to a stage like that.
So like, since you mentioned the mental side of things, the mentality that this sport requires, right? I think it's a good opportunity to talk about mental toughness, right? Because bodybuilding or muscle building requires a lot of mental toughness. It's not for everyone, for sure, right? What I mean is, when I think earlier we were at the gym and we were talking about taking your muscle to failure, which requires mental toughness. And I know you're a mentally tough guy, right? I've seen you training. You don't give up at the point it hurts. How important is that?
It is very important when you want to build muscle. Because muscles don't know how much weight that you're lifting. It knows how much pressure you're giving
how much stress you're putting.
So like, if forget about failure, you have to train really hard. And if you feel like, if you've done 6 reps from a certain weight, and if you feel like, okay, I can do 6 or 10 more, you have to just go for it.
Keep going.
Yeah. It's not the body that failing. It's if you're wow.
It's your mindset that's failing.
It's your mindset that failing. It's if your mind fails first, then the body follows.
Okay.
That's
how have you trained your mind to push when the mind, because obviously most often it's not the muscle that fails, it's your inner voice that be like, oh, enough, now it's hurting. Let's say we're doing 10 reps, by 8 you're hurting, and it's your mind that first says, it's not your muscle that actually gives up, it's your mind like, oh, now it's enough, enough stress, let me be kind of thing.
You have to train yourself.
How do you do? Tell me some
like
stuff.
That's what I said, bro. You have to train for at least 4 or 5 years, then you eventually know how it feels. If you've been training for like a year or 2, you don't know how it feels like.
Okay.
You have to keep training yourself and your mind as well. Okay. Not just the body.
And I think that's where you kind of need a good training partner.
Exactly.
Right? Who can push you for that failure.
Exactly. Yeah.
How important has a training partner been for you? Like, have you had regular training partners?
I've had many training partners over the years, but it really don't bother me because I'm like used to training this way.
Yeah.
So if I have a training partner, that's better. So I can push myself more. I can get a spot when I need it.
Yeah.
But for a guy who's starting, or like a new guy who wants to do bodybuilding, if you have a partner,
it's good.
That is good. Yeah.
It's good. Since
you can push each other.
Right. Since we spoke about muscle building, let's try to leave everyone watching with Dhanuja Markavita's top 5 tips for muscle building. It doesn't have to be 5, can be 3, can be 2. What are your top keys, Dhanuja Markavita's top keys for muscle building? Right, let's go.
Testosterone, trenbolone. I was joking. No, like the proper nutrition, the training, the supplements, and a coach, of course.
Okay.
You should hire a guy who knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So he can take you through it.
Okay.
And the rest.
Yeah. Right. How would you prioritize them? Which would you put as what's most important? Training on like training, nutrition, recovery, having a good coach, and supplementation were the 5 tips. 5 keys you think are important?
Yes.
Can you give us 1 to 5? What's most important? 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th?
Yeah, the first is the food. You have to eat to grow. Like if you don't eat enough food, you'll never grow. No matter what you take, no matter how you train, if you don't eat, you'll never grow. Bodybuilding is about food, man. You have to eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
You can ask anybody, all the professional bodybuilders, they eat like mad.
Okay.
So the food is the first thing, then the training, then the rest, and you should hire a professional
coach.
Like a coach.
Okay.
Yeah. And what was the other one I said?
Rest, recovery.
Rest I just said.
Okay.
It's
supplementation. That's obviously last. Yeah. Least important for sure.
No. Supplementation, yes. Yeah.
For sure, that's probably the least important ones. What are some of your go-to supplements?
Just the proteins, bro. I don't have a preference.
Okay.
So when I take supplements when I really need them, like when I'm competing or something, the protein is the main thing. And you can use some BCAAs, branch chain amino acids.
Yeah.
For muscle recovery, and some glutamine, creatine if you train every day.
But these are like not mandatory, but like additional stuff if you really feel like you got the money to spend and you want to go.
Extra cashish, you can just go for it.
Okay. Now that you spoke about nutrition, what's a full day of eating like for Dhanuja Markavita when you're focusing on building? Run us through breakfast, lunch, dinner, and whatever you have in. Give us an example, because what people like is realistic. What do you actually eat?
Yeah.
Because I know when we came, I asked, do you want lunch? And you said you prep lunch and came because you're prepared. Yeah. Otherwise, you have to eat whatever. So how important is prepping your meals? Is it practical? Plus, what's a full day of eating like for Dhanuja?
For me, it's really boring, to be honest, because I don't eat fancy food. What I do is I count my macros.
Okay.
Like how many calories and proteins and carbs and fats I need.
Yeah.
So what I do is I eat about a kilo of chicken breast every day. I make all of them together.
Yeah. One time.
Yeah. And separate it for like, eat it for like 4 times a day.
Okay.
Yeah. And each meal has 250 grams of carbohydrates with vegetables.
What are your sources for carbs?
Mainly white rice these days because I'm trying to put on some muscle.
It's the damn boring meal plan.
It is very boring.
I think what I've actually heard this before on another podcast where this guy also says it's a very routine based, but the advantage is it helps you kind of tweak things around when you're not making progress. Now, when you know you're eating the same shit every day, and you're not seeing, let's say your goal is to gain weight and you're not seeing results, all you have to do is increase your white
Intake,
rice,
yes,
because there's no confusion. You know exactly what you eat. So what do you think is that I mean it's not for everyone, right? The average guy wants to enjoy the pizza, but for someone who wants to really take their physique to the next level, do you think it's a good idea to stick to like 4 or 5, like your carb options are going to be like oats and white rice, and your protein is going to be like beef and whey protein and chicken, so you have few options, you just have to rotate them and increase the quantities and decrease.
Exactly.
What do you think about that approach?
If you're not a professional athlete, you could just enjoy food, man. There are so many carbohydrates that you can use. Even the brown bread is also fine.
Okay.
And what was the question again?
No, what I mean is having a strict approach. Is it practical for everyone? Probably
no,
not.
I don't think so. If you're a guy who works throughout the day,
okay,
so it's not going to be very practical for you. That's what I do. I have so many things to do during the day.
Okay.
So I make all the food together. It's boring, but it gets the work done.
And it helps you stay on track.
Exactly. Because no matter what, in the evening, I have to go to gym and train. Otherwise, I'm going to be stressed out.
Yeah.
So that really helps me with the proper eating.
Okay. What's your training routine like, since you just mentioned training?
I do like one major body part and one small body part a day. So I try to hit like 2 times for one body part.
The bro split.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So these days I'm mainly hitting the compounds, trying to stick to compound athletes, include.
What's the reason I'm just questioning?
I want to gain muscle and burn fat as well.
Okay.
So the compounds really help. Like if you take bench press, it's just not for chest per se. It works on your back and your shoulders and the triceps and other muscles as well.
Okay.
And if you do squats, it's just on your lower back, upper back, and your core.
Yeah.
Those are the compounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So it burns more calories.
More calories, more effort is taken as well.
Yeah.
And on the same topic of training, Dhanuja, like what are some of the key training hacks you use? Like, stuff like time under tension, supersets, drop sets, using there are different techniques you kind of, especially if you're someone who's been training for a long time, your body's adapted.
Yeah.
So you got to throw some tricks in there to, what they say is like, get your muscle to kind of really force it to grow.
Yeah.
What are some of these stuff you really like to go for? Like, some like partial reps. There are different strategies people use.
Yeah.
What are stuff you like to go for, and whatever you can advise people to try and see?
Yeah, I try to stick to drop sets and supersets.
Okay.
I like my workout like really hard. The harder it gets, I really...
You love pain.
Yeah. No, I love pain, but I like to train that way.
Okay.
So I try to do most of the time. I like I said, I try to stick to compounds like bench press and the squats. I do loads of drop sets and supersets with them.
Okay.
Nothing fancy, like old school workouts.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're more of a old school.
Exactly, bro. Yeah.
Fan.
I try to stick to like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question I have, because I think a lot of people have a confusion. If when you're talking about a particular exercise and a rep, do you prefer to have it take the momentum off and control the lift? Like, there's a time under tension. Like, for example, negative. So a bench press, someone will just drop it and push it.
Yeah.
For bodybuilding, do you think that's preferred and going heavy, or do you think having a... Because this, I feel like, again, people have different perspectives. Someone will say, control the negative, like Dorian is loved negatives. Then you see some of the really pros just going and reps at it.
Yeah.
Which approach do you like?
It depends. Sometimes I like to go really heavy.
Okay.
Sometimes I like to do more controlled reps. When I have more energy, I like to concentrate more on my negative reps as well.
Yeah.
So it depends with the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So much spoken. He's a tired man, right? He's actually after a shoulder workout, which we did for our School of Fitness channel.
Yeah.
Man's exhausted. I'm gonna kind of cut it off for today. But I know he's definitely gonna come back to the studio because when I sit with this guy, there's so much to talk about. We talk about stuff like mostly bodybuilding.
Yeah, mostly bodybuilders.
That's all that runs. But I think that will kind of sum up our conversation. Super informative, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Before I wrap up, okay, leave the audience or leave our Fitness Island people who are watching this with some of your tips or anything you want to share. It doesn't have to be fitness, whatever you want to share on a quick note.
On bodybuilding.
Anything. Bodybuilding. Even if it's bodybuilding, like it can be anything. That any advice you want to give the young guys who are watching it. Anything.
Whatever it takes, bro.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
All right. So with that, we are gonna wrap up this conversation. If you wanna follow his journey, Mr. Get it done?
Mr. Dhanuja Markavita.
Okay, Mr. Dhanuja Markavita will put a link on our description as well. Follow him, follow his journey. Post a lot of workout videos. You get to see the intensity they train, and that's what I love about Dhanuja's training is the intensity more than anything. Is super good to watch someone train that hard and taking your body to that extreme pain. Right? We'll catch you up with the next episode coming on our channel soon. Make sure to subscribe. Stay with Fitness Island, and we'll see you guys soon.